Good morning. This is Pulse Point News. I'm Sophia Grant. It's Thursday, August 1st. Here are the top U.S. news stories from Wednesday, July 31st. President Donald Trump has signed a sweeping executive order imposing new tariffs on 68 countries and the European Union, with rates taking effect in 7 days. The new measures impose a minimum 10% tariff on countries without exemptions and up to 41% for others. The White House says this is part of a strategy to protect American workers and industries. Countries like the Philippines, Myanmar, and Taiwan successfully negotiated reduced rates, while Brazil and Switzerland face the highest levels. In a related move, Trump adjusted Malaysia's tariff down from 25% to 19% after bilateral talks. Critics warn the new tariffs could provoke global retaliation and disrupt supply chains, while supporters argue the policy reasserts American leverage. Trade partners are expected to respond diplomatically or with tariffs of their own before the changes go live next week. It's one of the boldest U.S. trade actions in recent history. Global reaction is intensifying following President Trump's new round of tariffs targeting both rivals and long-standing allies. Brazil was hit hardest, with a 50% tariff, while India, Canada, South Korea, and Switzerland received levies ranging from 15% to nearly 40%. The move sparked concern among economists who fear rising global trade instability. Still, India remains central to the global China Plus One strategy, which aims to diversify supply chains while avoiding over-reliance on Chinese manufacturing. European officials criticized the move as reckless, warning of a possible World Trade Organization dispute. U.S. markets also showed signs of unease, particularly in trade-sensitive sectors. The Biden administration declined to comment on the tariffs, but some Democrats privately called the action economically risky. Meanwhile, American businesses are bracing for potential cost increases and preparing contingency plans to navigate what could be a prolonged trade standoff if negotiations fail. U.S. markets fell modestly Wednesday despite upbeat earnings from major tech companies. The Dow dropped 0.7%, the S&P 500 declined 0.4%, and the Nasdaq slipped less than 0.1%. Early optimism from Microsoft and Meta's strong quarterly results faded after the White House released a letter pressuring pharmaceutical companies to cut drug prices. Healthcare stocks tumbled, dragging down broader indexes. Analysts say political scrutiny on pricing has become a top concern for investors. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve left interest rates unchanged, citing sticky inflation and global uncertainty. Investors had hoped for stronger forward guidance, but Fed officials signaled a cautious stance. Energy and consumer goods sectors also showed weakness, while tech remained a relative bright spot. Traders are now focused on upcoming inflation data and potential fallout from Trump's sweeping new tariff order, which could weigh further on market sentiment and corporate earnings forecasts in the weeks ahead. The U.S. Senate has voted overwhelmingly to reject 2 Democratic-led resolutions aimed at halting arms sales to Israel. The measures, introduced by Senator Bernie Sanders, were backed by progressive voices including Elizabeth Warren, but failed to gain broad support. The votes underscored growing Democratic divisions over U.S. policy toward Israel amid escalating conflict in Gaza. The Biden administration defended the weapons transfers as essential to Israeli defense, though some officials privately acknowledged the worsening humanitarian crisis. Meanwhile, Democratic Congressman Robert Garcia received a subpoena requesting access to sealed Justice Department files related to Jeffrey Epstein's criminal network. The subpoena signals renewed interest in uncovering decades-old secrets and holding past officials accountable. Both developments reflect rising political tensions in Washington as lawmakers wrestle with issues of transparency, human rights, and foreign policy just months ahead of the presidential election. The topics remain hotly debated on Capitol Hill. Former President Donald Trump issued a fiery rebuke of ex-Russian President Dmitry Medvedev on Wednesday, calling him a failed leader and warning him to watch his words. Medvedev had criticized Trump's bold claim that he could end the Ukraine war within 10 to 12 days of returning to office. In response, Trump said any interference from Russian leadership would provoke severe economic retaliation. He also vowed to use his unique negotiating power to bring a fast end to the conflict. While supporters hailed the statement as decisive, critics dismissed the timeline as naive and potentially destabilizing. Diplomatic experts say Trump's proposed peace plan lacks detail and could alienate NATO allies. Still, Trump's remarks add fuel to his campaign message of strong, immediate global leadership. The Ukraine conflict remains a defining issue in the 2024 election, with both parties offering starkly different visions for U.S. engagement abroad. In a remarkable upset, 34-year-old Emily Infeld won her first U.S. national title in the women's 10,000 meters at the Track and Field National Championships. Racing in Eugene, Oregon, Infeld surged over the final laps to beat out Olympic hopefuls like Elise Cranny, crossing the line in 31 minutes, 43.56 seconds. The victory was emotional for Infeld, who has spent years battling injuries and setbacks. She credited her longtime coach and training team for keeping her motivated and focused through difficult times. The win significantly boosts her chances of making the 2026 Olympic team. Infeld's late race move electrified the crowd and reaffirmed her status as one of the most resilient distance runners in American track. Her performance capped off a dramatic day at the championships, where several underdogs outshined more established names. Fans and commentators alike praised Infeld's grit, determination, and tactical brilliance on the national stage. That wraps up your morning news briefing. Thanks for watching.